The alarms had been screaming for 3 hours straight. Jin stood in the command center, watching the displays show one defense station after another go dark. Each red light that blinked out meant hundreds of lives lost. Each silent radio meant another position overrun. The Velkari swarm was eating through Earth's orbital defenses like they were made of paper. Station 7 is gone, someone called out. Jin did not even turn to look. She knew the young officer's voice was shaking. Everyone's voice shook now. They had watched the swarm destroy 3 colonies already. They knew what was coming. The swarm ships moved like a living thing. Thousands of them, all connected, all moving together. They looked like insects made of metal and crystal, each one the size of a building. When they attacked, they swarmed over everything, tearing it apart piece by piece. Jin had sent messages to every allied world. She had called the Galactic Council. She had begged for help. The answers came back the same. The swarm cannot be stopped. Save yourselves if you can. We will not send our fleets to die with you. The Council had abandoned them. The colonies had abandoned them. Humanity's allies had all decided that Earth was already dead. Commander, the communications officer said. His name was Kyung-soo. He was 23 years old, too young to die like this. We have maybe 6 hours before they break through the inner perimeter. After that, they will reach the planet. 6 hours. Jin looked at the main screen. Earth hung there, beautiful and blue. 4 billion people down there, going about their lives. Some knew what was happening. Some had already said goodbye to their families. Some still believed someone would save them. Open all emergency channels, Jin said. Her voice was calm. She had learned long ago not to show fear. Leaders could not show fear. Every frequency we have. Military, civilian, commercial, everything. Kyung-soo looked confused. Commander, who are we calling? Everyone already said no. Then we call again, Jin said. The young officer nodded and worked his console. A moment later, he looked up. All channels open. You are broadcasting across the entire sector. Jin took a breath. She thought about what to say. Something noble. Something brave. Something that would make humanity sound worthy of saving. But she was too tired for speeches. Too tired for pride. This is Earth, she said simply. We are dying. The swarm will be here in 6 hours. If anyone can hear this, please help us. We know the odds. We know what we are asking. But we are asking anyway. This is Earth. Please. Someone help us. She cut the transmission. The command center was silent. Everyone was looking at her. Some looked hopeful. Some looked like they wanted to cry. Jin turned back to the displays and waited. 1 hour passed. Nothing. 2 hours passed. The swarm moved closer. Station 4 went dark. 3 hours passed. Jin was about to order the evacuation of the command center. They could not save Earth, but maybe they could save some people. Get them to the escape ships. Run into deep space, and hope the swarm did not follow. Commander! Kyung-soo almost shouted. We have a response. A ship just appeared at the edge of the system. Everyone rushed to their stations. The displays showed a single contact. Just one ship. Small. Maybe a freighter or a transport. Get me an identification, Jin ordered. Kyung-soo worked his console. Then he stopped. His face went pale. Commander, the transponder says the pilot is Tae-min. The name hit the command center like a bomb. Officers looked at each other. Someone gasped. Jin felt her stomach drop. That is impossible, someone said. Tae-min is exiled. He is banned from Earth space. The transponder does not lie. Kyung-soo said, quietly. Jin knew the name. Everyone in the military knew the name. Tae-min had been the best pilot humanity ever produced. During the Rift War, when alien raiders attacked Mars colony, Tae-min had held them off alone for 6 hours. He saved 10,000 civilians. He became a hero. Then came the court-martial. The disaster at Europa Station. Command ordered Taemin to destroy a civilian transport that had been taken over by enemy forces. 300 hostages on board. Command said they were already dead. Said destroying the ship would prevent the enemy from using it as a weapon. Taemin refused. He went after the transport alone. He boarded it. He saved every single hostage. But he disobeyed direct orders. The military declared him a traitor. They stripped his rank. They exiled him. Banned him from ever returning to Earth. That was 5 years ago. No one knew where he went. Some said he died. Some said he became a smuggler in the Outer Rim. Some said he just disappeared. "Show me his course," Heejin said. The display changed. The single contact was moving. Fast. Very fast. But it was not heading toward Earth. It was heading straight into the swarm. "He is going to die in seconds," an officer said. "That ship looks like a piece of junk. The swarm will tear it apart. He is not running," Kyung-soo whispered. Heijin watched the display. The small ship dove into the swarm formation like a bullet. She expected it to vanish. Expected the red light to blink out like all the others. But it did not. The ship twisted and turned, moving through the swarm like water. Explosions bloomed where it passed. The swarm tried to catch it. But it was too fast. Too unpredictable. "What is he doing?" someone asked. "He is buying us time," Heejin said. She felt something in her chest. Something she had not felt in days. Hope. Just a tiny spark of it. A message came through. Audio only. The voice was rough, tired. But Heejin recognized it from old recordings. From old battles. "I heard you," Taemin said. "I am coming home." The command center erupted. Officers were shouting. Some were crying. Heijin raised her hand for silence. "Kyung-soo, get me a direct channel to that ship. Now." "Yes, Commander. Channel open." Heijin spoke carefully. "Taemin, this is Commander Heijin of United Earth Command. You are banned from this system. You are classified as an exile." There was a pause. Then Taemin laughed. It was not a happy laugh. "You sent a distress call," I answered. "Are you really going to talk about regulations right now?" "Pard. For our No," Heejin said. "I am going to ask what you need." Another pause. Longer this time. When Taemin spoke again, his voice was different. Focused. "I need access to the Neptune scrapyard. The old military graveyard. There is something there I can use." "No. No. The scrapyard is full of dead ships," Heejin said. "Decommissioned fighters." "Trust me," Taemin said. "I know exactly what is there. And I know how to make it work." Heijin looked at the displays. The swarm was still coming. They had maybe 4 hours left. One man in one ship was not going to stop them. But one man in one ship had answered when no one else would. "Kyung-soo, give him access codes to the Neptune facility. Full clearance. Commander, those codes are restricted. If the Council finds out..." "The Council abandoned us," Heejin said coldly. "Give him the codes." Kyung-soo nodded and transmitted the access codes. On the display, Taemin's ship changed course. It broke away from the swarm and headed toward Neptune at full speed. Heijin watched him go. She did not know what he was planning. She did not know if it would work. But for the first time since the swarm arrived, Earth had someone fighting for it. A traitor. An exile. A man who had every reason to let Earth burn. But he came anyway. Heijin smiled. It was a small smile. A tired smile. But it was real. "Hang on, Taemin," she whispered. "We are all counting on you." Taemin's ship shook as it accelerated toward Neptune. The old freighter was barely holding together. Panels rattled. Wires sparked. The engine made sounds that no engine should ever make. But it was flying. That was all that mattered. His hands moved across the controls. Blood dripped from his nose. The neural implant in his head was already burning. He had pushed it too hard during the fight with the swarm, but he could not stop now. Blood. Blood. Always love. Not when Earth needed him. The distress call had reached him 3 days ago. He was in a bar, on a forgotten station in the Outer Rim, drinking cheap alcohol and trying to forget he used to be someone important. Then, the message came through. Yin's voice. Desperate. Afraid. Earth was dying. Taemin had tried to ignore it. Tried to tell himself it was not his problem anymore. Earth had thrown him away. Called him a traitor. Stripped everything from him. Why should he care if they burned? But he could not ignore it. He was still human. Earth was still home. So he climbed into his broken ship and started flying. Neptune grew larger in his viewport. The ice giant hung in space like a blue jewel. Orbiting around it was the graveyard. Hundreds of old military ships, all dead, all decommissioned, left to float in the dark until someone decided to salvage them. Most people saw garbage when they looked at the graveyard. Taemin saw weapons. Kyungsu, are you listening? Taemin said, into his comm. I am here, the young officer answered. What do you need? I need you to connect me to someone named G1. She works in the Earth shipyards. Tell her. Taemin needs her help. There was a pause. G1? The head engineer? She is going to ask why. Marker. 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 She will know why, Taemin said. Just get her. A few minutes passed. Taemin guided his ship into the graveyard. Dead fighters floated past his windows. Most were stripped for parts. But he was not looking for most of them. He was looking for something specific. Taemin. A new voice came through. Female. Sharp. He remembered that voice. Hello, G1, Taemin said. You have a lot of nerve calling me. G1 said. But she did not sound angry. She sounded tired. I heard you answered the distress call. Are you insane? Probably, Taemin said. I need you to do something for me. Something illegal. Of course you do. G1 sighed. What is it? The Ghost Squadron. You remember them? Lekin. 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 Silence. Then G1 spoke very quietly. Taemin. Those fighters were banned. They killed 2 test pilots. The neural strain was too much. Command ordered them scrapped. But they were not scrapped, Taemin said. They were sent to Neptune. I checked the records before I left. All 12 of them are still here. Even if they are, you cannot fly them. The neural link system will burn out your brain in minutes. You will die. I have been modifying my neural implants for 5 years, Taemin said calmly. I can handle it. You cannot handle 12 ships at once. 1 ghost fighter almost killed you during testing. 12 will turn your brain into soup. Taemin looked out at the graveyard. He could see them now. 12 fighters, all in a row. They were beautiful once. Sleek black metal, advanced weapon systems, engines that could outrun anything. But the neural link technology made them impossible to fly safely. A pilot had to connect their mind directly to the ship. Think, and the ship would respond. No controls, no delay. Pure thought into action. It was the fastest response time ever created, but the human brain was not meant to process that much information. The test pilots had seizures, brain hemorrhages. They died screaming. Command banned the whole project. But Taemin was not like other pilots. He had been working on his implants for years, pushing them, upgrading them, making them stronger. He had to know if he could handle it. G1, I need you to activate them remotely. Override the shutdown protocols. Get them powered up. Taemin, this is insane. Earth has 4 hours left. Taemin said. Another long silence. Taemin waited. He knew Ji-won. She had served under him during the Rift War. She was brilliant, stubborn, loyal. If anyone would help him, it was her. If you die, I am going to kill you, Ji-won finally said. Fair enough. Taemin heard her typing in the background. Commands being entered. Security systems being bypassed. Ji-won was risking her career. Maybe her freedom. But she was doing it anyway. All right, Ji-won said. I am in the system. Activating the Ghost Squadron now. The 12 fighters began to glow. Lights flickered on. Engines hummed to life. They looked like sleeping predators. Waking up, Taemin closed his eyes. He reached for the neural link cable and plugged it into the port behind his ear. Pain immediately shot through his skull. The connection was forming. His mind was touching the fighters. One connection. He could feel the first ship. Its systems. Its weapons. Everything. 2 connections. The pain doubled. His hands started shaking. 3. 4. 5. Blood poured from his nose. His vision blurred. Taemin, your vital signs are critical. Ji-won shouted. Disconnect now. But he could not stop. 6. 7. 8. He felt his brain starting to crack. Felt something breaking inside his head. 9. 10. 11. He screamed. Could not help it. The pain was beyond anything he had ever felt. Like his skull was splitting open. Like fire was burning through every nerve. Taemin, please. Ji-won was crying now. Please stop. 12. Everything went white. For a moment, Taemin thought he was dead. Thought his brain had finally given up. Then the white faded. And he could see everything. 12 ships, 12 minds, all connected to his. He could feel every system, every weapon, every sensor. It was like having 12 bodies, 12 sets of eyes, 12 heartbeats. The pain was still there. Still burning. But he could control it now. Could push it down. I am alive, he whispered. You insane lunatic, Ji-won sobbed. Your brain activity is off the charts. You should be dead. Probably, Taemin said. But I am not. And now I have 12 fighters. He opened his eyes. The Ghost Squadron was moving. All 12 ships, responding to his thoughts. They formed up around his freighter like a pack of wolves. Taemin set a course back toward Earth, toward the swarm. What are you going to do? Kyung-soo asked. The young officer had been listening the whole time. The swarm moves together, Taemin said. His voice sounded strange, distant, like it was coming from far away. They coordinate through a network. All connected. All synchronized. If I can break their synchronization, I can create gaps in their formation. How do you break it? Heejin's voice came through. She was listening too. I hit them from an angle they do not expect. Fast and hard. Disrupt their signal coordination. Force them to reorganize. Taemin's hands moved across the controls. But most of the flying was happening in his mind now. It will buy you time. Maybe an hour. Maybe 2. And then what? Heejin asked. Then I figure out the next step, Taemin said. The Ghost Squadron accelerated. Taemin could feel the engines burning. Could feel the weapons charging. Could feel everything. He could also feel himself dying. The neural strain was too much. His brain was bleeding. His heart was struggling. He had minutes, maybe hours, before his body gave up completely. But that was fine. He did not need long. He just needed enough time to give Earth a chance. Neptune fell away behind him. The swarm grew larger ahead. Thousands of ships, all waiting, all hungry. Taemin smiled. Blood ran down his chin. His hands were shaking so hard he could barely hold the controls. Here I come, he whispered. And the Ghost Squadron dove into the swarm like 12 bullets fired from the hand of God. The galaxy had never seen anything like it. One man controlling 12 ships, moving impossibly fast, striking from 12 directions at once. The swarm tried to track him, tried to predict his movements, but Taemin was not moving like a pilot anymore. He was moving like pure thought, like lightning, like chaos. 3 swarm capital ships exploded in the first minute. 5 more in the second. The formation broke apart. Gaps appeared. Confusion spread through the hive network. In the Earth Command Center, every officer was standing, staring at the displays, watching one impossible man do what entire fleets could not. "He is giving us time," Hejin said softly. "Prepare every ship we have. If that man can fight, then so can we." And deep in space, Taemin flew, his mind burning, his body breaking. He had come home, and he was not done fighting. Commander Hejin watched the displays and felt something she had forgotten. Pride. One man was fighting an entire armada, and somehow he was winning. The swarm formation had broken into pieces. Their ships were scattered, confused. "All available vessels, prepare for launch," she ordered. "I do not care if it is a mining ship or a cargo hauler. If it can fly, I want it ready to fight." The officers stared at her. "Commander, civilian ships are not armed. They will be slaughtered." "So will we if we sit here doing nothing," Hejin said sharply. "Taemin is buying us time. We will not waste it. Get those ships ready." Across Earth, the call went out. Every captain, every pilot, every person who knew how to fly anything. They looked at their screens and saw what one banned pilot was doing for them, saw him fighting alone against impossible odds, and they decided to fight too. Taemin could barely see anymore. Blood filled his vision. The neural link was killing him slowly. Every second felt like his skull was being crushed. But he kept the ghost squadron moving, kept firing, kept disrupting the swarm. Then something changed. The swarm stopped trying to catch him. They stopped trying to reorganize. Instead, they did something strange. They started transmitting. Not attacking. Not moving. Just broadcasting on every frequency. "Kyung-soo, are you getting this?" Taemin gasped. "Yes," the young officer said. His voice was shaking. "But I cannot understand it. It is not any language in our database." Taemin felt his consciousness touch the swarm network. The neural link let him feel their signals. And what he felt made him freeze. Fear. The swarm was afraid. "They are not trying to kill me anymore," Taemin said. "Something is wrong." "What do you mean?" Hejin asked. "I mean they are scared. I can feel it through the network. They are terrified." Kyung-soo was working his console frantically. "Commander, I am picking up some fragments from their transmission, running it through translation algorithms. This will take time." But they did not have time. The swarm had stopped attacking, but they were still surrounding Earth, still blocking every escape route. Taemin made a decision. An insane decision. But he was already dying. So what did it matter? He disconnected 11 of the ghost fighters. Let them drift. The pain in his head reduced slightly. Not much, but enough to think clearly. Then he did something no sane pilot would do. He flew his last ghost fighter straight toward the swarm flagship. The massive ship at the center of their formation. The one that coordinated everything. "Taemin, what are you doing?" Ji-won screamed. "Talking," Taemin said. "You cannot talk to the swarm. They do not communicate. Then I will make them communicate." His ship dove into the heart of the swarm. Thousands of enemy ships surrounded him. Any one of them could destroy him in a second. But they did not fire. They just watched. Taemin reached the flagship. It was massive. Bigger than anything Earth had ever built. Covered in weapons that could tear planets apart. He stopped his ship right in front of it. Then he did the most insane thing of all. He shut down his weapons, shut down his shields, made himself completely defenseless. "I am here," he transmitted on all frequencies. "I stopped fighting." For a long moment, nothing happened. Then the neural link exploded with information. The swarm flagship was connecting to him, forcing its way into his mind. Taemin screamed. This was worse than controlling 12 ships. This was an alien intelligence, vast and terrible, pouring into his brain. But through the pain, he saw something. Images. Memories that were not his own. He saw the swarm's homeworld. Beautiful. Covered in crystal forests and silver oceans. He saw billions of swarm beings living in harmony. Then he saw it burn. Saw space itself begin to tear apart. Saw darkness spreading across their world. Not a natural darkness. Something worse. Something that made the void of space look bright. The silence. It consumed the swarm's homeworld. Erased it. Not destroyed. Erased. Like it never existed. The swarm ran. Fled across the galaxy. But the silence followed. Always following. Always consuming. And now it was here. Coming to this system. The swarm was not attacking Earth because they wanted to. They were running. And Earth was in their way. Taemin broke the connection and gasped for air. Blood poured from his ears now. His body was shutting down. "Kyung-soo," he whispered. "Did you translate their message?" "Yes," the young officer said. His voice was horrified. "They keep saying the same thing over and over. They are saying, 'It follows. It consumes. It comes.'" In the command center, Heijin felt cold. "What comes?" "Something worse than the swarm," Taemin said. "Something that has been chasing them across the galaxy. It is called the silence. And it is almost here." "How do you know this?" "I connected with them. Saw their memories. The swarm is not our enemy. They are refugees. Refugees that were about to destroy Earth," Heijin said. "Because they are desperate. Because they are terrified." Taemin coughed. "More blood. But we can work with desperate. We can work with terrified." "What are you saying?" Taemin looked at the swarm flagship. At the thousands of alien ships surrounding him. He thought about Earth. About humanity. About every time his species had faced extinction and refused to die quietly. "I am saying we make an alliance," Taemin said. "The swarm has technology. We have strategic thinking. Together, maybe we can stop the silence." "The swarm does not do alliances," Ji-won said. "They are a hive mind. They do not understand cooperation with other species." "Then I will teach them," Taemin said. "I will show them what humanity can do when we fight together." He opened his neural link again. This time, he did not try to fight the swarm's consciousness. He let it in. Let it see his memories. He showed them Earth's history. Every war, every disaster, every time humanity stood at the edge of extinction. He showed them how humans fought. Not just with weapons, but with hope, with stubbornness, with the absolute refusal to give up. He showed them the Rift War. Showed them how he held off an entire fleet to save civilians. Showed them choosing to save hostages, even when command ordered him to let them die. He showed them trust. Sacrifice. Things the swarm had never understood. The swarm flagship's weapons powered down. All across the formation, the alien ships stopped moving. For the first time in their existence, the hive mind hesitated. Then a new signal came, directed at Earth. Kyung-soo translated it immediately. "They are asking for alliance. They are offering their technology in exchange for our help." Heijin looked at her officers. Everyone was staring at her, waiting for her decision. "If we ally with them, the council will call us traitors," someone said. "The council abandoned us," Heijin said. "We are on our own. If the swarm wants to help us survive, I will take that help. She opened a channel. Tell them yes. Tell them we will fight together. Taemin smiled. It hurt to smile. Everything hurt. Good. Because we do not have much time. The silence is coming. As if summoned by his words, the sensors began screaming. Every display in the command center lit up with warnings. Space was tearing. Reality was breaking. And through the tear came darkness. Not the natural dark of space. This was something else. Something that made human eyes hurt to look at. Something that made the mind scream. The silence had arrived. Taemin watched it spread. Watched stars disappear. Watched light itself bend and die. He had thought the swarm was scary. But this was terror on a level he could not comprehend. We need a plan, Heijin said. Her voice was steady. But Taemin could hear the fear underneath. Working on it, Taemin said. The swarm was already moving. Their ships formed a defensive wall between the silence and Earth. But Taemin knew it would not be enough. The silence had consumed hundreds of swarm worlds. A few thousand ships would not stop it. G1, I need you, Taemin said. What do you need? I need you to work with the swarm. They are going to share their technology with you. You are going to figure out what the silence is and how to kill it. That is impossible. I am one engineer. You are the best engineer I know. And you have every scientist on Earth to help you. Taemin looked at the silence, spreading across space. We have one chance. Make it count. In the shipyards on Earth, G1 was already running, already calling every scientist she knew, already preparing to do the impossible. Because that was what humans did best. G1 had not slept in 30 hours. Her eyes burned. Her hands shook from too much coffee. But she could not stop. Would not stop. The fate of two species rested on her figuring this out. The swarm had opened their entire database to Earth scientists. Thousands of years of research, technology that humanity could barely understand. And somewhere in all that data was the answer to stopping the silence. She stood in the main research lab, surrounded by holographic displays. Other scientists worked frantically around her. They were all exhausted, all terrified. But they kept working. I found something, one of the researchers said. His name was Dong-hyun. He was young, brilliant, and looked like he might collapse at any moment. The swarm has been studying the silence for decades. They have a theory about what it is. Tell me, Ji-won demanded. Dong-hyun pulled up a display. It showed a massive structure. Ancient. Alien. The swarm thinks. The silence is not alive. It is a weapon. A terraforming device. Built by a civilization that died millions of years ago. A terraforming device? That thing destroys everything it touches. Exactly. It was meant to break down matter and energy to rebuild worlds. But something went wrong. The shutdown protocols failed. Now it just consumes. It spreads across space, eating everything to fuel its expansion. Ji-won felt her heart racing. If it is a machine, it can be stopped. Machines can be broken. The swarm tried. They hit it with everything they had. Nuclear weapons, antimatter bombs. Nothing worked. The silence just absorbed the energy and grew stronger. Then we need a different approach. G1 started pulling up more data. If it is a terraforming weapon, it must have a core, a central processor that controls everything. Dong-hyun nodded. The swarm detected something like that. Deep inside the silence. But nothing can get close to it. The warping effects destroy ships before they get anywhere near. Ji-won thought hard. Her mind raced through possibilities. Then something occurred to her. What if we do not try to destroy it from the outside? What if we get inside and overload it? With what? The silence absorbs all energy. Not all energy. It absorbs external attacks. But what if we detonate something inside its core? Something it cannot absorb because it is already inside the system? Dong-hyun's eyes went wide. A massive energy pulse, delivered directly to the core processor. It would be like a heart attack for the machine. Exactly. Ji-won started calculating. We need to retrofit the Ghost Squadron fighters, add swarm energy cores, turn them into flying bombs. That might work, but someone would have to fly them into the core. Ji-won stopped. She knew he was right. She also knew who would volunteer for a suicide mission. She opened a channel. Tae-min, I have a plan, but you are not going to like it. Tae-min's voice came through. He sounded weak, barely alive. I am listening. She explained everything. The theory, the plan, the suicide run that would be required. When she finished, there was silence. Then Tae-min laughed. It was a painful sound. Of course it is a suicide mission. Why would it be anything else? Tae-min, we can find another way. There is no other way. You know it. I know it. He coughed. How long do I have before the silence reaches Earth? 6 hours, maybe less. Then, we do not have time to find another option. Retrofit the fighters. I will lead the mission. You can barely fly. The neural strain is killing you. I have been dying since I connected to the Ghost Squadron, Tae-min said calmly. This is just choosing how to die. I would rather die saving Earth than die floating in space. Ji-won felt tears on her face. She wiped them away angrily. You are an idiot. I know. Now get those fighters ready. In the command center, Hee-jin was coordinating the defense. The swarm and Earth's fleet had formed a united front. Thousands of ships, human and alien. All working together. It should have been impossible. Two species that almost destroyed each other, now fighting side by side, but the silence did not care about their alliance. It kept spreading, kept consuming. Already, 3 swarm ships had been caught by the edge of it. They simply ceased to exist. No explosion, no debris, just gone. Commander, we have volunteers for the bombing run, an officer reported. Hee-jin looked at the list. Dozens of names. One name stood out. Dong-hyun, the young scientist who helped Ji-won figure out the plan. Dong-hyun is a researcher, not a pilot, Hee-jin said. He was a pilot, the officer replied. Before he became a scientist. He said he wants to see his theory work. Hee-jin closed her eyes. So many brave people. So many willing to die. Approve them all. And tell them humanity will remember them. Tae-min floated in his cockpit, barely conscious. The ghost fighter was the only thing keeping him alive now. Its medical systems were pumping stimulants into his blood, keeping his heart beating, keeping his brain functioning. He watched the 11 other fighters form up around him. Each one had been retrofitted with a swarm energy core. Each one was now a bomb powerful enough to crack a moon. All pilots, this is Tae-min, he transmitted. His voice was weak but clear. You all know the mission. We fly into the silence. We reach the core. We detonate. Simple. Nothing about this is simple, Dong-hyun said. The young scientist sounded nervous but determined. But we do it anyway. We do it anyway, Tae-min agreed. For Earth, for the swarm, for everyone who cannot fight. The 12 fighters began their approach. The silence was massive now. It covered half the system. Stars disappeared behind it. Space itself seemed to break down. They entered the outer edge. Immediately, reality started to warp. Tae-min felt his ship shudder. The warping effects were trying to tear it apart. Stay focused, he said. Do not think about what you are seeing. Focus on flying. But it was hard not to think about it. Time moved strangely inside the silence. Seconds felt like hours. Hours felt like seconds. Colors that should not exist appeared and disappeared. Sounds that made no sense echoed through the void. 2 fighters disappeared in the first minute. Just gone. Consumed by the warping effects. "Keep going," Taemin shouted. "We are almost there." 3 more fighters vanished. Then 2 more. The survivors pushed deeper. Taemin could see the core now. A massive structure. Pulsing with energy. Ancient technology that had outlived its creators. "Dong-hyun, are you still with me?" Taemin asked. "Still here," the young scientist gasped. "My ship is breaking apart, but I am still here." "Good. When we reach the core, detonate on my mark. All at once." "Understood." Another fighter disappeared. Now only 5 remained. 5 bombs out of 12. Taemin hoped it would be enough. The core was right in front of them now. Massive, pulsing, beautiful in a terrible way. "This is it," Taemin said. "For everyone we love, for everyone we lost, for Earth, for Earth." The other pilots echoed. Taemin thought about his life. The battles he fought. The people he saved. The court-martial that destroyed his career. The 5 years he spent running from his past. He thought about Haejin's distress call. About answering when no one else would. About coming home. He smiled. Blood covered his face. His body was shutting down. But his mind was clear. "It has been an honor flying with you all," he said softly. Then Dong-hyun's ship exploded. Not from the silence. He had detonated his core early. The massive energy pulse hit the core structure. "No!" Taemin shouted. "It was supposed to be together." But Dong-hyun's sacrifice was not in vain. The explosion created an opening. A gap in the silence's defenses. "Go!" Dong-hyun's last transmission came through. "Finish it." The remaining 4 fighters dove through the gap. Taemin could see the very center of the core now. The processor that controlled everything. "All ships, detonate now," he ordered. 3 explosions bloomed. Massive. Powerful. The energy cores overloaded and released all their power at once. But Taemin did not detonate. Not yet. He saw something. A final layer of shielding around the processor. The 3 explosions had weakened it, but not destroyed it. He would have to go deeper. Right into the heart of it. "Taemin, detonate." Ji-won screamed. "You are too close. You will not survive." "I know," Taemin said. He disconnected the neural link. Felt the pain finally fade. Felt his body starting to die without the ship's support. But he had enough strength for one last thing. He flew his fighter directly into the core processor, into the very center of the silence. And then he detonated. The explosion was beyond massive. It was reality itself screaming. The core processor shattered. The silence began to collapse inward, consuming itself. In the command center, every display went white, then dark, then slowly cleared. The silence was gone. Destroyed. Erased. And so was Taemin. Haejin stared at the empty space where the silence used to be. Where Taemin used to be. She felt something break inside her chest. "He did it," someone whispered. "He saved us." Everyone in the command center stood in silence, honoring the man who gave everything. The man who came when no one else would. 3 days passed. Earth was silent. Not the terrible silence of the silence, but the quiet of grief. Billions of people mourned the pilots who died, saving them. Especially one pilot. The one who had every reason to let them burn but chose to save them anyway. Haejin had not left the command center. She stood at the windows, looking out at the stars. The swarm fleet still orbited Earth, but they were not enemies anymore. They were allies, partners in survival. "Commander, we should prepare a memorial," Kyung-soo said softly. "For Taemin and the others, the people want to honor them." "Yes," Haejin said. Her voice was tired. She thought about the last words Taemin said to her. About trust. About fighting together. He had taught an entire species how to hope again. "Commander!" an officer suddenly shouted. We are picking up a signal. From the Mars sector. Heejin turned. What kind of signal? An emergency beacon. Very weak. It is. It is coming from an escape pod. Everyone in the command center froze. Escape pods were automatic. They launched when a ship was destroyed. But the silence had not left debris. It had not left anything. Get me an identification on that pod, Heijin ordered. Her heart was beating fast. The officer worked frantically. Then he stopped. His face went pale. Commander, the pod's registration number. It matches Taemin's fighter. The command center erupted in chaos, people shouting, running. Heijin felt like she could not breathe. Send a rescue ship. Now. Right now. Already launching, someone said. The minutes felt like hours. Heijin watched the displays as the rescue ship approached the pod. Watched as they brought it on board. Watched as they opened it. We have him. The rescue captain transmitted. He is alive. Barely, but alive. Heijin sat down. Just sat down right there in the middle of the command center. She started laughing. Could not help it. Laughing and crying at the same time. How? She whispered. How did he survive? Ji-won's voice came through. She had been listening. The neural link. It must have spread his consciousness across the entire swarm network during the explosion. The swarm saved him. Held his mind together, while his body drifted. That is impossible. So was everything else he did, Ji-won said. She was crying too. Taemin does not do possible. The rescue ship brought him back to Earth. To the medical facility in Geneva. The best doctors humanity had worked on him for hours. His body was broken. His brain was damaged. But he was alive. Heijin stood outside his room, looking through the window. Taemin lay in the bed, surrounded by machines, tubes and wires everywhere. His face was peaceful though, like he was just sleeping. Will he wake up? She asked the doctor. We do not know. The damage to his neural systems is severe. He might wake up tomorrow. He might never wake up. We have to wait. Heejin nodded. She could wait. After everything, she could wait. 2 weeks later, Taemin opened his eyes. The first thing he saw was white ceiling. Clean. Bright. He tried to move and found he could not. Everything hurt. Everything felt broken. Do not try to move, a voice said. Ji-won appeared beside his bed. She looked tired but happy. Taemin tried to speak. His throat was dry. Ji-won gave him water. He drank and tried again. Did it work? He whispered. Ji-won smiled. Tears ran down her face. Yes. You idiot. It worked. The silence is destroyed. Earth is safe. The swarm is safe. You saved everyone. Taemin closed his eyes. Relief washed over him. Good. That is good. Over the next few days, he learned what happened. Learned about his miraculous survival. Learned that he was being called a hero across Earth. That his court-martial had been erased. That he was being offered full reinstatement to the military with the rank of admiral. Heejin came to visit him personally. The council wants to give you medals, she said. Every medal they have. They want to parade you around like a trophy. Taemin laughed weakly. They called me a traitor 2 weeks ago. I know. Politics. Heejin sat down beside his bed. But I am here to offer you something else. Full reinstatement. Your choice of assignment. Anything you want. Taemin was quiet for a long moment. He thought about going back to the military. Back to following orders. Back to the life he used to have. I appreciate the offer, he finally said. Heijin looked surprised. No? No? I do not want to go back to the military. I do not want medals or parades. Taemin looked at her seriously. I want to be humanity's ambassador to the swarm. I want to help build the alliance. Make sure what we started does not fall apart. That is not an easy job. The council still does not trust the swarm. Many humans are afraid of them. I know. That is why I want to do it. Because someone has to build bridges. Someone has to show both species that we are stronger together. 1. 2 thous. Heijin smiled. I think that is the perfect job for you. I will make it happen. Heijin, 3 months later, Taemin stood on the bridge of a new ship. It was unlike anything humanity had built before. Part human engineering, part swarm biotechnology. A perfect hybrid of both species. It is beautiful, Ji-won said. She had come to see him off. I helped design it. The engine systems are incredible. Taemin nodded. He still moved slowly. Still had pain. But he was healing. Getting stronger. Every day. There is someone I want you to meet, he said. A figure appeared from the back of the bridge. It looked almost human, but not quite. The skin had a slight shimmer. The eyes were too large. But the smile was genuine. This is Nari, Taemin said. She is a swarm individual. She volunteered to take physical form so she can work with humanity. Nari bowed slightly. It is an honor to serve as liaison between our peoples. Taemin has taught us much about cooperation. Ji-won stared. The swarm can take individual form? I thought you were all connected to the hive mind. We are still connected, Nari said. But we can choose to experience individuality. It is a new concept for us. Taemin showed us that individuals can be strong too. Taemin looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there were more threats, more dangers. The galaxy was vast and full of unknowns. But for the first time in years, he felt hopeful. We should go, he said. The outer colonies are waiting for us. We have work to do. The ship's engines hummed to life. Human and swarm technology working together perfectly. The vessel lifted off and accelerated toward the stars. Down on Earth, people watched it go. They knew who was on that ship. Knew what he had done for them. Children were already learning his story in schools. Songs were being written about the pilot who answered when no one else would. In the command center, Heijin watched the ship disappear. She saluted. A formal military salute for the man who was never really a traitor. Just a hero who arrived too early. Kyung-soo stood beside her. Do you think he will succeed? Building the alliance? If anyone can do it, Taemin can, Heijin said. He did the impossible once. He will do it again. Aboard the ship, Taemin sat in the captain's chair. Nari was explaining swarm technology to the human crew. Everyone was working together. Learning from each other. Where do we go first? Nari asked. Taemin pulled up a star map. So many systems. So many worlds. So much to explore and protect. Everywhere, he said simply. We go everywhere. We show the galaxy that humans and swarm can work together. We build something new. Something better. And if we encounter more threats? More things like the silence? Taemin smiled. It was a real smile this time. Not pained, not tired, just confident. Then we face them together. Just like we face the silence. We do not run. We do not hide. We stand and fight. He looked at his crew. Danoff. Humans and swarm individuals, all working side by side. The ship jumped to faster than light speed, streaking across the galaxy like a comet, carrying hope, carrying unity, carrying the message that even the most impossible things could be achieved when different species chose to work together. Earth had sent a distress call into the void, and a banned pilot had answered. That pilot had saved everything. Not just Earth, not just the swarm, but the future itself. The possibility of something better, something united. And as the ship disappeared into the stars, one thing was certain. The galaxy would never forget the human who refused to let anyone die alone. The pilot who proved that one person, fighting for what was right, could change everything. Taemin, the traitor who became a hero. The exile who became a bridge between species. The man who answered when no one else would. And he was just getting started. Somewhere in deep space, on a forgotten station, an old bartender heard the news. Heard about Taemin saving Earth. Heard about the alliance with the swarm. He remembered the quiet man who used to sit at his bar, drinking cheap alcohol and trying to forget. I knew you were someone special, the bartender said to the empty room. He raised a glass. To Taemin, the crazy human who saved us all. And across the galaxy, on thousands of worlds, millions of voices echoed the same toast. To Taemin, the pilot who answered, the man who proved that humanity would never stop fighting, never stop hoping, never stop reaching for the impossible. The stars were vast, the dangers were many, but humanity and the swarm would face them together, because one man showed them how.